One of these things is not like the others. One of these things is not like the others. One of these things is not like the others. One of these things is not like the others. One of these things is not like the others. One of these things is not like the others. And one of these things is not like the others. If you can tell what's wrong with this list, then you probably have an understanding of parallel structure. I like running, dancing, and to swim. Which one doesn't match? Well, to swim is not in the same form as the others. If we were to change that to swimming, then we would have three gerunds. I like running, dancing, and swimming. Three things in a list that each have the same form. And each thing would be parallel to the others. Parallel structure, which is called parallel form or parallelism, basically boils down to the idea of keeping similar parts of a sentence the same, or if you've got two sentences that kind of go together, keeping the structure of them the same. This could be at the word level. I like running, dancing, and swimming. Or you could say I like to run, dance, and swim. Okay, it could be a phrase, easy come, easy go. It could even be sentences that we kind of balance against each other. Like Julius Caesar said, I came, I saw, I conquered. Or as I always say, I came, I saw, I ate. I like to talk about parallel structure when we do resumes because resumes involve lists. So here's an example of a list of job duties from a resume. Can you tell which one is not like the others? Develop modified menus for special dietary needs. Maintain regular schedule for cleaning and sanitation according to the regulatory standards. Following standardized recipes with precision. Well, if I can think grammatically, I can look at the first one and see that it starts with a verb. The second one starts with a verb. And then the third one starts with an ing form of the verb. So third one doesn't quite match. If you can't think grammatically, though, for something like this, which is just a little sentence fragment, you can sort of mentally fill in the blank at the beginning. So in this case, I could say, I develop modified menus. I maintain regular schedule. And I following. Well, that doesn't quite work. That tells you that the third one doesn't match. Now, how can we make that match? Well, we just need to put the word following in the same form as the others. Perfection. Now, the thing about parallel structure is if you recognize you've got an issue with parallelism, a lot of times there are multiple ways to fix the problem. Take a look at this list. The class will teach students the following: study skills, to memorize well, how to take tests. I've got three things in that list there, and not one of them matches the other. Okay, first one is a noun, study skills. Second one's an infinitive, and then the third one's an infinitive with a little how tacked on at the beginning. Now, let's say I want to make them all match the first one, then I need to turn all of them into some form of a noun. So in this case, I've got some gerunds: studying, memorizing, test taking, ing, ing. Those all match. Or I could do the pattern where I've got a modifier and a noun. So study skills, memorization techniques, test taking strategies. Again, they all match now. Or I could start with a how-to for each of them: how to study, how to memorize, how to take tests. And of course, if that doesn't sound good, I can always fancy it up a little bit: how to study more effectively, how to memorize more easily, how to take tests more strategically. Can you tell what the error of parallelism in this sentence? I've got there are tours scheduled in the morning and noon. Okay, in this case, to fix this, we use the preposition in with the morning, but we don't say in noon. So in this case, I need to match that with a different preposition. So sometimes with parallelism, you just need to make sure you've repeated the preposition so that you've got the same pattern. And in a case like this, I should say not the same preposition, but repeat a preposition that's appropriate. So if we do that, we'll have something like scheduled in the morning and at noon. If you use parallel structure, that'll just make your sentences sound a little bit nicer. But it's also what you're going to use if you're trying to make a speech that really sticks in people's minds. So if you look at some great speeches given by great leaders, you will see parallel structure. And perhaps you can complete this line: this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that the government of the people, by the people, fill in the blank. I bet you know this one by heart: for the people shall not perish from the earth. Great line, wonderful meaning behind it. And of course, the parallel structure helps it stick in the mind just a little bit better. Here's an example where parallel structure is being used for humor. I don't want to achieve immortality through my work. I want to achieve immortality through not dying. Nice sentence, right? Kind of balanced around that semicolon, and it's got similar structures for both parts, but opposites. I don't want to live on the hearts of my countrymen. Now, you probably haven't heard this quote before. Maybe you have, but I bet you can guess the next couple of words there. I want to live on in my apartment. So do I, Woody. So do I. If the examples I've given make sense to you, then you're probably well on your way to understanding parallel structure. Remember that it's just a very functional thing to write parallel lists and parallel sentences that just sound nice instead of weird. Okay, but that it can also be used to create really powerful lines that stick in people's memories. Let's go ahead now and look at an IXL exercise related to parallel structure. For this exercise, you could be choosing one sentence or both sentences, because remember there are multiple ways that you could write a list, for example, and have it be parallel. I like running, swimming, and dancing. I like to run, swim, and dance. So again, could be one, could be both. Summer weather in San Francisco can be either warm or cold, depending on whether or not the fog rolls in. Well, warm, cold, two adjectives, that looks pretty parallel. Summer weather in San Francisco can be either pleasantly warm or quite cold, depending on whether or not the fog rolls in. So I've got an adverb and an adjective. I've got an adverb and an adjective. You could think modifier and then describing word, modifier, describing word. Well, what am I saying? Modifiers are describing words. But this one looks parallel as well. Getting from my English class to my science lab requires me to go down the stairs, run across the quad, into the science building, and down the corridor to the lab, all in 3 minutes. Okay, I'm not liking this. I've got down the stairs, well, that's a preposition. Run across the quad, that's a verb. Into the science building, that's a preposition. Down the corridor, that's a preposition. So this second thing in the list isn't matching the others. I'm not going to choose that. Now let's look at this one. Down the stairs, across the quad, into the science building, down the corridor. That one works. Nellie was surprised to find that the earnings from her summer job were subject to federal, state, and local taxes. Well, that looks good to me. Federal, state, local. Okay, this one repeats the word taxes, but it repeats it for all three, so that works as well. Federal taxes, state taxes, and local taxes. Mr. Olson's car is neither new nor flashy, but he can rely on it to get him to work each day. Mr. Olson's car is neither brand new nor particularly flashy, but he can rely on it to get him to get to work all day. Okay, I think this one works. Modifier, modifier. Okay, I think this is okay as well. It's just modifier, modifier. Okay, Eleanor Roosevelt, wife of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, was one of the most active first ladies in U.S. history. She held press conferences, wrote a daily newspaper column, and she was a tireless advocate for human rights. Well, I've got held, wrote, and then I've got an entire clause here for the third thing in this list, so that doesn't match. Let's look at the bottom one. That'll fix it for us. She held press conferences, wrote a daily newspaper column, and advocated tirelessly for human rights. So we've got a verb, and a verb. That looks good. On most Saturday and Sunday afternoons, you will find my mother either in her garden or at the library. So I'm taking the eithers, like either this or that. So let's compare the this and that. In her garden, at the library. Those match up, right? If I look here, though, I've got in either her garden or at the library. So this doesn't quite work because, again, either this or that, I need these two things to match, and the in is in the wrong place. So if I can swing that back here before the her, then they would match just like they do in the first example. So I'm just going to choose the top one here. While thousands of people hike the Inca Trail to visit Machu Picchu, no one really knows if the Incas built the ancient mountaintop complex as a ceremonial site, a royal estate, or to protect themselves from intruders. So was it a site, an estate, so noun, or to protect themselves? So instead of just a regular noun, I've got an infinitive right here, so that's not matching. Let's take a look at this one. A ceremonial site, a royal estate, or a military fortress. Now I've got a noun, a noun, a noun. Place, place, place. With the New Deal, Franklin D. Roosevelt sought to create jobs and to invest in public works. So I've got sought to create, to invest. We've repeated the two. That looks good. Now in this case, I don't have to repeat the two, so I can just say to create and invest. So I'm going to click that one as well. Either way, I think is going to work. President Reagan's economic recovery plan, dubbed Reaganomics, sought to lower taxes, increase spending, and create new jobs. Well, that sounds good. Lower, increase, create. President Reagan's economic recovery plan, dubbed Reaganomics, sought to lower taxes, increase spending, and was intended to create. So suddenly I've switched from this action verb, action verb, action verb to this passive construction. If you've learned that grammar, if you haven't learned that grammar term, I hope it just sounds different, right? Lower, increase, was intended, not matching up there. While the queen bee in a honeybee colony lays the eggs, the worker bees perform a variety of functions, including searching for food, building the hive, and circulating air within the hive. So my list includes searching, building, circulating. That looks good. This one, I've got the same thing, so I'm just going to start the list. Searching for food, building the hive, and they increase. So I've got ing, ing, and then here I've got like a full sentence, or I should say clause. So that's not the same. Doesn't match, not parallel. Carly, after you confirm that our mailing list is up to date, Omar will stuff the envelopes, will address them, and drop them off at the post office. If I'm going to repeat the helping verb will, I need to make sure I repeat it for all three verbs here, which actually is going to sound a little bit redundant, so it's probably better not to repeat it. But if I do, again, I need to repeat it. So will stuff, will address, will drop, and the sentence doesn't do that. Okay, this one sounds better. Omar will stuff the envelopes, address them, and drop them. So I've got stuff, address, drop. That matches up much better. Almost all states place both nighttime driving and passenger restrictions on newly licensed teen drivers. Looks all right. Almost all states place both nighttime driving restrictions and passenger restrictions. So we've repeated the word restrictions. I think that works as well. Nighttime driving restrictions, passenger restrictions. Again, I could repeat that word or not. Either way, I think makes an okay sentence. A visit to New York City can be expensive, but you can save some money by avoiding taxis. Simply walk, take the subway, or hop on a bus. Walk, take, hop. That looks good. Now let's look at the same list down here. Simply walk, take, or hopping. That doesn't match. One of these things is not like the others. Because I have to be at hockey practice by 6 o'clock a.m., my morning ritual includes jumping out of bed, taking a quick shower, and I grab breakfast on the go. Well, I've got an ing, and then I've got a whole clause. That's not matching. Let's look at the list on here. Jumping, taking, grabbing. Those match. Leonardo da Vinci, who is a painter, sculptor, and scientist, is perhaps best known for his painting of the Mona Lisa. Well, that looks fine. Painter, sculptor, scientist. Okay, in this one, we've got the same list, but we just repeated the word a painter, a sculptor, and a scientist. Well, if you want to repeat the word a, that's fine, as long as you do it for all three of them. So I'm going to click that one as well. During our trip to Washington, D.C., we'll visit the White House, we'll tour the U.S. Capitol, and maybe even meet with a representative in Congress. So I've got we'll visit, we'll tour, and maybe even meet. So I'm missing the wheel. If I'm going to repeat the wheel for the second verb, I need to repeat the wheel for the third verb. So I'm not liking that. Okay, we will visit the White House, tour the U.S. Capitol, and maybe even meet. Now that's fine. I don't repeat the will anywhere. But as long as I have it once, I'm good to go. So we'll visit, tour, and maybe even meet. I use my new tablet to check email, watch the occasional video, and for chatting with friends and family. All right, one of these things is not like the other: to check, watch, and for chatting. So that for chatting is not matching. I use my new tablet to check email, watch the occasional video, and chat. So check, watch, chat. That one looks good. Depending on the temperature tomorrow, we could get rain or snow. No, rain or snow, those are parallel. Depending on the temperature tomorrow, we could get rain or we could get snow. So in this case, instead of just repeating the pattern with the word, I'm just going to repeat the pattern with the clause. So basically, it's like two little mini sentences, but that looks fine. Abdul is a voracious reader who enjoys science fiction, fantasies, and mysteries. All right, I like that. It's just a list of genres. Abdul is a voracious reader who enjoys futuristic science fiction books, imaginative fantasy novels, and thrilling mystery novels. So I've got the same list. I just added on a describing word or a modifier for each of those. That looks fine as well. All right, the challenge zone. I'm ready. Most of Carrie's friends would agree that she is not only kind, but also generous. So I'm thinking about not only this, but also that. Not only kind, but also generous. So the this and the that are kind and generous, and those match. Okay, and this, again, not only that she is kind, but also that she is generous. So in this case, my that is kind is balanced with that she is generous. Those both match. An elite runner who trains consistently, Dick will either win the race or come in second. So either win the race or come in second. I've got a verb. I think that looks right. Okay. Now this one I'm not liking, and I gotta be honest, like I don't even think this sounds bad. So some errors and parallelism, like they're really gonna make you sound bad, and others, like you make them and it's not gonna bother anyone, to be honest. But if I think about either, it's like either this or that, right? So either this, my this would be Dirk will win the race, or that come in second. So my either is like a full sentence, and then my or is not a full sentence, it's like a partial sentence. So it would be better if I could swing that either over, or I could say either Dirk will win the race or he will come in second, and I could repeat having a little verb there. Anyway, I'm not going to choose this one. I'm just going to stick with the top one here. Let's see if I'm right. Oh, what a relief. Jordan is neither talkative nor is he particularly outgoing, and yet he makes friends wherever he goes. So again, neither nor. I've got neither this nor that. So if I look at my neither, the first neither, again, think of it as being neither this nor that. So my this in this case is the word talkative. My that in this case is like a full phrase here. So I'm not sure that I like that. Let's look at the bottom one. He is neither talkative. Okay, so my this is the adjective, the word talkative, nor particularly outgoing. Okay, so my that is another adjective with an adverb, but I think it's okay. Okay, I'm liking the second one better. I'm not liking the first one. I'm getting so nervous here. Abdul had been excited to see the theatrical adaptation of his favorite book, Fahrenheit 451, but found that neither was it well acted nor could it hold his interest. Okay, I gotta be honest, this sounds awkward to me, but let's think through the grammar here. Again, it's neither this nor that. So neither was it well acted. So my this in this case is was it well acted, nor that. And then my that in this case is could it hold his interest. So verb, and then like the little pronoun and the modifier, and then I've got the verb and the pronoun and then the rest of the sentence. So I don't like the way this sounds, but I am going to click it. Okay, in this case, again, it's neither this nor that. Let's look at our this and our that here. Neither this, the this is well acted, so just a little describer here, nor could it hold his interest. So the that here in this case has a verb attached in there. So again, if you think neither this nor that, what they have for the this needs to match what they have for the that. And in this case, they don't match. I'll be honest though, I think this one sounds better, but I'm going to click on the top one here. A healthy breakfast that would provide enough energy to get you through the morning might include oatmeal, blueberries, and yogurt. Well, that sounds all right. A healthy breakfast that would provide enough energy to get you through the morning might include oatmeal, antioxidant-rich blueberries, and high-protein Greek yogurt. Okay, I'm torn here, and I don't want to mess this up on my final question, but if I do, you're going to see it. Like, it seems to me that if we've got a list of 3 things like this, that the core of the list is okay, because the core of each thing in this list is a noun, right? Oatmeal, blueberries, and yogurt. Okay, and so fundamentally, like, I feel like this list is okay, but this one has a modifier, and this one also has a modifier, and the first one doesn't have a modifier. And if you're going to put modifiers on 2 of them, it's going to sound better if you've got a modifier for all 3. So, like, I don't hate this, but I'm just going to go ahead and click on the first one, and if it tells me I'm wrong, so be it. Okay. So they don't care that I don't have that modifier there. Well, again, fundamentally, I think it's okay. But you know what? If you're going to put modifiers on 2 of them, for crying out loud, put it on all 3. What would you say? Something like high fiber oatmeal or something, or heart healthy oatmeal? That's going to sound better. Just saying. All right. Should we stop here? Should we go all the way to 100? I think I'm going to stop here. Happy grammar.